What's up, guys? Today we're going to be getting into something that I have been avoiding for a very long time. I'm going to teach you guys about punch basics. And punch is a very polarizing thing. I think a lot of people think of punch and they get scared because then they think of their college days and the jungle juices that you would drink by just throwing a whole bunch of whatever into a big gallon, drinking it and having a terrible hangover. But punch is something that has been around for a lot longer than cocktails, since about the early 1600s. And it is something that is an art form, and they are fantastic if you do them correctly. So today I want to break down the 3 to 4 pillars of punch. There is a structure, much like cocktails have a structure, punch also has a structure. And I have been avoiding it for a long time because every time I would think about it, I'd get a little overwhelmed because it is kind of a complicated thing. But I got a couple of comments on Instagram in the last month saying, hey, it's the holiday season. We are going to be making some punches. I don't know how to do it. I'd really love some guidance on this. And so I thought this would be a good timely episode for that. But then also in the summertime, it's going to be relevant because people are going to have parties and, you want to have a signature cocktail. You don't necessarily want to bartend your own party. Having a batch cocktail or a punch is a very good way to be able to hit all of those marks without getting bogged down into the bartending part of it. When I was a young bartender, I didn't mind bartending my own parties. Now it is the last thing I want to do. I want to hang out with my guests. I definitely want to have a cocktail or two. This is a good way to do it. But before we get into making the punch, I just want to tell you guys to hit like and hit subscribe if you like our content. That tells the algorithm, well, you know what it does. It helps us out in many ways. It's just a free way to support the channel, so definitely do that. And then the other thing is we're going to talk a little bit about the history of punch before we get into it. And then I'm going to take you through the there is 4 pillars of punch, but really 3 of them are the most important. So to the surprise of many, there's a lot more to making punch than just sticking a bunch of ingredients into a bowl, adding ice, and serving. I'm going to make sure that you can follow the structure properly, so that it just takes all of the guesswork out of making punches and it makes it easier for you guys to come up with your own. Today we're going to be making a punch from 1708 called Major Bird's Brandy Punch, and this one really makes use of the structure of punch that I'm going to be teaching today. Not all of them do. Nobody really knows when the first punch came into existence or who made the first punch or even why it's called punch, although according to David Wondrich, it's likely to have been a British person. The first reference to punch was in a letter by Robert Adams in 1632. Adams was stationed in India while he worked for the East India Company. That was the very first written reference to punch, but the first written punch recipe dates back to 1638 when a guy managing a factory in India named Johann Albert de Mandelslo wrote about a drink the workers made which consisted of citrus, sugar, rose water, and aquavite, which is what they called spirits back in the day. So we know that punch was around well before cocktails and very well could have provided for the base of cocktails and their whole existence. Wondrich supposes that cocktails were a paring down of punch recipes when people got too busy to sit around a public house all day getting shellacked around a punch bowl. They could just pop in a bar, grab a quick tipple, and be on their way. Either way, punch was something that was probably created due to the fact that spirits were not very refined products in those days. The spirits of those days were very rough and mean, and punch was an easy way of proofing them down, taking the edge off, and making them a lot more palatable. As time went on, their creation turned into more of an art form, and punches became a mark of a skilled drink maker, and that's what they are today. Little, consumable works of art. There are 2 theories for why punch is called punch, but of course nobody actually really knows. These are, what do you call them? Educated guesses. The first is a theory that doesn't hold too much water because it's based on a guess, like an actual guess, and that guess is that it comes from the Hindi word for 5, which looks like this and sounds like punch when you say it.
Punch.
It's a good guess, but there's no evidence, and really it was literally someone just put those 2 and 2 together. It's a good one, but there's no actual evidence. The second theory, and I think which is a better one, is that it comes from the word punchin, which is the name of a small barrel that holds 500 liters. Back in the day, this is the type of barrel that you'd use to serve punchin, so that makes sense. It's actually connected one to the other and contains the word punch. Anyway, I could talk your ear off all day long about punch history, but if you're really into it, David Wondrich has an incredible book, which I have used as a reference for this video and many other times in my career, and everyone that's into it should just go grab the book and read it. It is fantastic history, and it is an amazing read. The very first thing that we are going to need is a large bowl, 4 lemons and a lemon peeler, and you're going to need some sugar. Don't throw the sugar on the ground. Sugar, I'm using like lightly refined cane sugar here, so it has a little bit of those molasses flavors that I like. And a Measuring glass, if you want to have a scale to make sure that you are being incredibly accurate, that's not a bad idea. The very first thing you need to know to make punch is how to prepare an oleosaccharum. Oleosaccharum is just a fancy kind of Latin word. I think David Wondrich actually calls it pig Latin for oil sugar. And what it refers to is basically peeling lemons that you have washed nicely to get the wax off of them, but wash them nicely regardless. You peel them, you make sure you don't get too much pith, and then you add sugar to them, you muddle them, and you let them sit, and then the sugar will naturally extract the oil from the peel. So we're gonna peel our pre-washed lemons here. Peel the whole thing. I like to really go very close and not get a lot of space in between them, so I'm utilizing as much peel as possible. There is always gonna be, there is gonna be a little bit of pith on the back, but you don't wanna have a ton.
5-second rule.
Huh?
5-second rule.
Oh, 5, yeah, but don't, yeah, I guess, I don't know. I could go wash it.
Washy, 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 and we're back with the washed one.
All right, and then we're gonna just finish this up here. See, I got most of the peel off. We're actually gonna need this because we're gonna juice it. And then we're gonna grab another one. I actually forgot to bring the juicer out, so I gotta do that as well. And you know what, if you get a little pith, it's fine because it's not going to be too terrible.
It sounds very appley.
Appley?
Yeah, like you're just like a peeling an apple.
Oh, this does? Yeah.
Are they super firm?
They're not super firm. If they were super firm, that would be really hard to get the peel off. But they are, they're ripe and they are firm. Just want to make sure that you're using a very sharp peeler when doing this, and that'll help you to not get too much pith. Okay, now that we have everything peeled, there's 2 different ways that you could do this. The original recipe called for creating an oleosaccharum first. If you were gonna just do an oleosaccharum, you would take 2 to 3 tablespoons of sugar and muddle it. But then the recipe calls for 1 cup of sugar. I don't see the reason why we would put just an oleosaccharum together instead of just putting all the sugar in. You're not gonna get as much of a slurry as you would with a whole cup of sugar, but I just feel like we should do that. So a whole cup of sugar is 250 grams. So
or 1 cup.
Huh?
Or 1 cup.
Yes, 1 cup or 250 grams, but different sugar crystals or different sizes. It's 250 grams. It is 1 cup, yes. So we're gonna do 1 cup of sugar. We're just gonna make sure that we do 250 grams. There we go. And as you can see, 250 grams is exactly 1 cup.
Also 215 mils, it looks like.
Is exactly 1 cup too. That's right. Despite the differences in density. Okay, so we're just gonna coat our peels like this.
Well, I guess the
grab a muddler.
There's so much air in between all the crystals, and in water that would be filled. So same.
Yeah. So as you muddle, you want to make sure that when you muddle, you can even like fold the peels over kind of on themselves to get as much oil out as you can. But you will notice them begin to get wet with oil immediately. So muddle them, until you've gotten like quite a bit of the oil out. You'll be able to start to smell. In Punch, he refers to it, or I guess Jerry Thomas referred to it as the ambrosial essence of the lemon. Which I think is just wonderfully descriptive about how to describe the essence of lemon oil. Anyway, so there we go. We've muddled it enough. I'm really smelling that ambrosial essence, so I'm gonna cover this. I'm gonna put it aside. You wanna leave it for at least a half an hour, but if you leave it for 2 or 3 hours, that's fine. If you put it in the fridge for overnight, that's fine as well. So just gonna do that. And several hours later, we'll take off our plastic wrap here. We'll probably want to get closer in here, like the peels are really curly and kind of spent up, and then if you run a spoon through it, you'll see all of the oil that's just trapped in the sugar. So I gotta go with the juicer. All right, I got my juicer set up and my little anti-pulp device that isn't working out that well on this particular. I just do it that way. Well, hopefully, I'm gonna put this aside real quick, and we are going to juice all of these lemons here. And I'm using a citrus reamer here, like an electric one, because I want to get as much juice out of these as possible.
Shouldn't we have used the The other one,
What other one?
the cold one.
Oh, the cold press one? No, because I don't want to. I'm not. I haven't tested whether or not it's going to be good for full lemons, because that will do the whole thing. Unless you peeled it, I guess. I just want sans pulp, but I don't want to get everything from the peel, because also that would be weird if you juice the entire thing and you have all these peels. You're basically like putting in like double oil. That would be crazy. We're looking to get about a cup of juice here. Right, so I'll juice that too. I have it. Let's see. Let's see if we get a cup.
I can't see.
And I'm going to see how many grams it is here. Is 1 cup.
250 grams.
250 grams.
Yeah.
Is 1 cup of juice 250 grams? That's the question.
I'm pretty sure it's very, very close.
Under a cup, though. I'm gonna juice another one because I am under a cup, a little bit hair shy. And right now it is 202 grams. So I don't know if.
Well, it looks like it's right on the 200 mark. So
Yeah, I mean it's very close. If anything, it's very
just
close.
just over the 200 mark.
Yeah. So the 4 lemons, you're gonna need a little extra lemon.
1 lemon is about 50 mils.
Huh?
1 lemon is about 50 mils.
Is 1 lemon 50 mils? I don't know. Let's see. I mean, I'm sure it's variable, but
Yeah, but you said 4 and you have 200, so that's
1 lemon. That 1 lemon, 53 mils.
yeah. So
Now I got to clean this. 247 grams.
oh,
Just about 250 grams.
less.
A little less. 3 grams less. That's negligible.
Yeah.
Okay, so next thing we're going to do here is we're going to add in our lemon juice to the bowl. And this is the next pillar of punch, pillar number 2, called the sherbet. This is what this is called. So the sherbet is the inclusion of juice into the oleo saccharum. And so we're doing approximately the same amount of juice as sugar. And then we're just going to stir it until it's fully combined and the sugar is completely dissolved. At this point, we're going to take out our peels. We do not need them any longer.
That glass scratching sound.
Yes. There we go. All the peels are gone. Just going to make sure that our sugar is pretty much dissolved. The next step, pillar number 3, is called the order, and this actually is a very sensible thing to consider because it has to do with how the sugar dissolves and how well this punch is going to come together. Do you put in the dilution first, or do you put in the alcohol first and then the dilution? And it all really has to do with how sugar dissolves. Sugar does not dissolve very well in... I actually don't have water. I'm going to go get water. I'm gonna go get 2 cups of water, but we'll do this first. So sugar does not dissolve well in spirits. It dissolves a lot better in water. So do you put the spirits first and then the water? You put the water first and then the spirits. Back in the day, the thought was that for a cold punch, you would do the water first and then you dilute your sugar and then you'd put in your spirits so that everything was combined kind of perfectly. That is a very sensible way to do it. And then also for hot punches, you can utilize the hot water to melt the sugar and dissolve it a lot faster. And so you can put your booze in first and then put the hot water. The other thing is that you want to make sure that your water is at a specific temperature for hot punches because you don't want to put scalding water into a hot punch because you are going to be evaporating alcohol. Personally, I think you just put a little bit of water in, then you put a little bit of your booze and then you top it all up and then you have your punch. That's the way that I've always done it and that's the way that works best. So, we're gonna get, okay, and then, yeah. So booze, so the order, I don't know. Did that make any sense at all? So pillar number 4 is dilution and spices. So what we're gonna do here is we're just gonna add in about a cup of our water. We'll stir it to dissolve the sugar further. And then we're going to add in 1 quart, so 4 cups.
What?
That did not want to come off. Of brandy. Now the original recipe calls for VS grade cognac. We have this nice saloon strength brandy, and The original maker of this punch also used very overproof spirits, so we're going to be using overproof spirit. This guy comes in at about, well, 45 points, 91 proof. So yeah, 45.5%, so 91 proof. So we're going to do 4 cups here. There we go. And the original recipe called for 2 quarts of water, which is 7.8 cups of water, just about 8 cups of water, which is going to make a very weak punch indeed. So I decided to just calculate about 30% by volume, the total volume of the punch of dilution. That equates to 2 cups. So I already put a cup in. We're just going to put in our extra cup of water here. I'm going to give it a mix. And the other thing is that if you put 2 quarts of water here, it's going to make a weak punch. But if this punch is going to be sitting on ice, then it's going to make an even weaker punch over time. The ice is going to melt. So I decided to do that 2 cups, and then we're going to actually put it on ice as well. So let's give it a stir here. We're going to add 1 large block of ice to our punch, which I'm sure in the 1700s they did not probably do, and that's probably why they put in that much water. And then we're going to grate some nutmeg atop the punch, and we shall be done. Well, I think I might actually do some lemon wheels. I think that'd be a nice touch. Where'd I put my nutmeg? There it is. We shall grate some nutmeg atop the punch, like so. And then this was not called for in the original recipe, but it's like this. We can drink like we're in the 1700s as long as we use modern technique to make better products here, right? So I am sure that the reason why they used 2 quarts of water, of cool water, is because there was no ice to be put in the punch, but we have ice, so we're gonna dilute it less, and then we're gonna add a little bit of lemons. We're gonna cut it on a mandolin so it's nice and even, and we're gonna be very careful so that we don't send ourselves to the hospital with said mandolin. And then we shall just float these atop our punch like so. And here we have, what is it, Major Brown? Is it Major Brown's Brandy Punch?
No, Major Bird, I think.
Major Bird, hold on. Yeah. Hold on. And there we have Major Bird's Brandy Punch. Now you may say to yourself, Leandro, everyone comes to me to make all the cocktails for every party, and they asked me to make something, and I said I would batch a big punch, and they talked a big game before the party, but then they came to the party, and they looked at the punch bowl, and they got scared, and they didn't actually drink the punch. Now I have all this punch left over. It's got citrus in it. It's going to go bad. What do I do? And the answer to that is whenever you have any large volume of punch left over, you can always either clarify it with milk, or if you're a vegan, you can do it with coconut or even soy milk. And once you clarify it, it will render it completely shelf stable. The citrus will not oxidize anymore, and you can keep it in your fridge forever and have it on special occasions, or just drink it until it's done. So you don't have to waste all of the expensive spirits that you put in your punch. Mm-hmm. It's a very elegant solution, I think.
And I guess you could get little bottles, and you could fill little bottles and put a little cork on it, or make it all.
And give it away. That's true.
Yeah, or at the party, and that's all little bottles that people can.
You know what we haven't done, though, is actually taste this punch.
Mm-hmm.
So let's give it a little taste, shall we? I want to find the right glassware for it. We could do it in a little coupette. This is a nice little, this could be a punch glass. The other thing that I noticed that I do not have here is a ladle of any kind. Shall I go get a ladle? I have it in the house, but.
Yeah, I guess you could just dip the glass in.
Yeah, but I don't want to get my hands in there.
No, just to hold one.
Just like this?
Yeah.
That, and just taste it on?
There you go.
Yeah, okay. That worked. Yeah, it's good. Ooh, yeah, it's really nice. Maybe even a bit strong. I might even put another cup of water in there. But yeah, it's Very full flavored. You get the brandy. I mean, it's a brandy sour. It's literally just lemons, sugar, brandy, a little bit of water, and some nutmeg. And it's nice for the season because you get that nutmeg, so it gives you a little holiday spice to it. The brandy is really prominent. Of course, the lemon is really balanced out by the sugar, and then the lemon is really full flavored because we use that oleosaccharum, so you get all of the essence of the lemon and lemon peel in there, and it's very vibrant and nice. It is a beautiful punch. It is really good. I could actually see serving this hot as well. You know. And if you guys make a hot punch, you can actually use a sous vide. Put it in a bottle and set the sous vide to like 135 degrees and then just stick the bottle in there and it will never burn. It will stay hot for the entire party. So the Dead Rabbit in New York City would make coffee on a pot all the time because they made so many Irish coffees. But, you know, on a slow day, no matter how good the coffee is, if it's sitting on a pot on a hot plate, it's going to burn eventually. It's going to burn. So they came up with the idea of using a sous vide and just putting sugar and coffee together, right? So that you have the sweetened coffee for your Irish coffee, and you put it in a sous vide, you just sit it in a hot bath, and since the sous vide keeps the temperature completely even, you can have hot coffee all day long and never scald it, never burn it, never get those bitter flavors, and have a perfect Irish coffee. And it's like brilliant. I've been doing that for any hot beverages at every party now because it's such a good idea.
And then the Dead Rabbit also does a lot of punch, don't they?
They do, and actually, but the way that they make it is that they're actually really smart. They batch out the sherbet. You can actually make sherbet and then bottle it and then just use it in cocktails if you want to as well. And the way when they make their punches, they actually have a little bottle of just pre-made sherbet that they can throw in there. The other thing that I thought was interesting about sherbet for all you nerds out there, especially the ones that have been really paying attention to this channel, is that this punch-making technique of oleosaccharum and sherbet is the exact way which Nickel Morris, the guy who created Super Juice, created his Super Juice recipe. If you think about it, he takes peels, right? 100 grams of peels, right? Throws the citric acid, malic acid onto those peels, muddles them, so he's making an oleosaccharum. Instead of using sugar, he's using those, he's using citric acid powder. Citric acid powder and malic acid powder is going to do the same thing that the sugar does. It's going to leach the oil out and create that slurry. And then he adds the juice back in, which is exactly making a sherbet. Then he adds water and he blends the peels together. And it's exactly, he just utilized an old punch making technique in a new way, which is pretty cool. All right, guys, that's it for our punch making class. So if you like this channel, hit like, hit subscribe. If you want more of this content, really helps us out. And I don't know, I'm gonna have to go find some people to either help me drink all this punch or something, and or maybe I'll bottle it and give it away to my friends. Check out the website, theeducatedbarfly.com, for all of our cool merch, and of course we have our wonderful garnishes that we sell on top of not just merch, but also cool t-shirts and tiki shirts and stuff. And Glassware. We still got a great tiki glass that we still have some of, so you better get them before they're gone. And that's it. I guess I'll see you guys another time.